So welcome to our info session today. It is called How to Increase Exports for African Manufacturers. Okay, and just to make sure that we're all on the same page about what our agenda is today, we're just going to do a quick introduction of who we are and who our speakers are. Then we're specifically going to spend quite a big portion of the session on actually sharing with everybody research on trade data in Africa. Second to that, we're going to look at importing and exporting. Okay, that's where majority of our time is going to go there. Towards the end, we will then take questions. So please don't be shy. If you think of a good question, put it in the chat box along. Nolu is busy watching the chat box for us, and all the good questions she's going to keep a note of. And we're either going to talk through them all in this session, or if there's any questions that's not addressed, but you've asked it, we will come back to you afterwards with an answer on those questions. And then lastly, hopefully we'll have the last few 5 or 10 minutes, hopefully 5 minutes, that we can just put everybody into a few breakout rooms and you can network with us. We can chat a bit more in detail, one-on-one. Anybody who wants to swap details can swap details or contact us afterwards for more information. After this info session, what's really great is that we're going to have a few articles coming out about trade in Africa. So please also stay tuned for that one. Everybody happy with that? Thumbs up, no thumbs up. Okay, so let's start. Let's firstly start by saying, who are we? So hi there, my name is Terrell Christians. I am the Director of Success by Design, and we are South African based, and we provide business consulting and training services. We specifically focus on helping businesses grow through increasing their sales, their productivity, and their profit. Our vision and mission at the end of the day is actually to build sustainable businesses for the long term. I'd like to introduce to you my partners. The first one is Eran Emandis, who's from AgainData, and his co-founder, Hussein Uzen, who will speak today for us, and they are from AgainData, which is an international trade intelligence consulting firm. They focus on exporting and helping their customers actually increase their exports through detecting suppliers that they can export to in other countries. They do this in a very sophisticated way by data mining tens and thousands of records, which they will tell us a bit today about, but they'll firstly show off by showing off some African information, which before this, none of us would have been aware of. And their target actually consists of helping any manufacturer or supplier either increase their exports or to import with a much more cost-effective database in mind. Okay, so that's who we are. So firstly, let's just hop right into it. Let's talk about trade in Africa in general. Okay, so when we talk about trade in Africa, we're talking about importing and exporting that happens intercontinentally between us as African countries, as well as what is happening across the rest of the world, African countries going out and what's being imported in. Now, one of the big things that we need to look at here is actually what is the barriers for us to export. And we know that when it comes to exporting, the first thing we need to notice, it's actually a very expensive thing for us as African manufacturers to do, to import or export. There are things that we need to consider, which is number one, currency exchange, the strict guidelines and standards that other countries would have when we import from them or export to them, as well as the guidelines that our countries have and the complex importing or exporting processes we have, whether they are official or unofficial in a lot of our African countries. We still know that the unofficial processes is what I'm going to call it now, and if you don't know, we can chat about that later, that happen in a lot of African countries also are a barrier for us as African manufacturers to help get our products out there a lot more. There's lots of tariffs that come up officially and unofficially. There's also certain quotas that you need to meet or export taxes that you need to pay before you even get that step there. Then also playing against us in this way is our inefficient ports and our poor road and rail infrastructure, which also adds to the expense in terms of us actually trying to export more. And then very much so our different business environments. Not every single country in Africa is politically stable to begin with, is business-wise stable, as well as is there proper funding around and licensing around for us and technology to help us actually do our best where that is concerned. So just in general, overall, as a manufacturer who's looking to export, those are just a touch on the barriers of what we are experiencing. I'm now going to ask Hussein to take over and just tell us more about trade in Africa.
Thank you very much, Terrell. Hello, everyone. Before I talk some specific sectors, which is rapidly increasing in African region for last years, I will just summarize top exporter countries of Africa region. For many years, when we consider trade databases, that we see these 10 countries in the top list. South Africa, Nigeria, Morocco, Egypt, Angola, Algeria, Congo, Tunisia, Ghana, and Cote d'Ivoire countries are in the first 10 top countries of the Africa region, if we are talking about their value of trade in the region. And if we talk about which sectors already Africa countries are strong, not in a few years, for a long time, Africa region is strong regarding with the petroleum products and minerals and cotton and fish and coffee, tea and spice products and agriculture products and some apparel products. And I will just share these two data before I will show you some current situation and current opportunities regarding with the sectors, which is rapidly increasing in Africa region. And now we will see in which sectors for last year Africa region had opportunity to increase their market. Are some markets for African manufacturers. There is an opportunity. What I mean with opportunity, when we consider last year, as you maybe know, in world trade, there is a huge decrease in most of products because of COVID. And if it is not a mandated product to trade, most of importer or exporter did not choose to trade their products because of pandemic situations. But when we consider some of products, we see that in African countries, there is a rapid increase last year, even last year. Which means that these are very good opportunities to grow African exports. I will just give some examples, these rapid increases. For example, pulp of wood products like paper or any other wood products rapidly increased last year. It's about 23% increase of African region exports. And we believe that in the future, next year or even this year, this increased rate will be kept and it will be continuing. And also carpets and other textile floor coverings increased rapidly last year. It's about 16%, which is a very good increasing export rate. Then also we have rubber articles, rubber and articles thereof, it's again increased about 15%, which is normally about the 5% in Africa region statistics. All these increases are related with the decrease of Chinese market actually, and because of COVID issues, Chinese market had to share their customers with other regions. And this is a very good opportunity also for African manufacturers. And also carriers increased percent about 15, and which means all these listed manufacturers, not only these companies, not only these sectors, but there are many other specific products increase it if we are talking about exports of Africa, and this need to be analyzed for each product separately. But I will just share with you first top 10 or not more than 10, but it's about 15 products which I could analyze. We can continue. And not for African rapidly increased markets, I have also analyzed that world trade. And there are some products, if we are talking about world trade, there are some products exports are also increased. And many companies would import some products from other countries, and I have analyzed them, and I have saw that for the African manufacturers, for the African countries, these sectors, these products are already exported products. It can be percent 0.8 or it can be percent 2, but uh, if an company or if an country could enter a market, which means you can grow it. So this is a very good opportunity for African manufacturer that you could already enter world market for many different products. We can see this in this chart also, that there are many different sectors and there are many different product types which we analyze it, and which we see that last year in 2020, even because of COVID, they have increased it, importing most of countries. And in this increased importing rates, Africa has some market shares. So after a very well analyzing and after a very well preparation, then you can grow, African manufacturers can grow their markets in these sectors. I will just give some examples regarding with this chart. For example, sugars and sugar confectionery. It has increased it in world market importing rate, increased it about percent 7, and African manufacturers has market share about percent 5 for this product, and it's probably will be increased as a result of African manufacturers preparations and works for trade improvements. And for example, there are another products like editable fruit and nuts. We know that African countries and manufacturers exporting their agricultural products, but they are nowadays started to make their agricultural products edited. And we know that even for Turkey and for the most of countries, it's a fact that if you can edit your product, then it will be more profitable. And we see that for the edited fruits and nuts, Africa will have a higher market in world market share than, as we see from the last year, it's again for editable fruit that there are increased percent 2.9, and African countries has the market share about percent 7. All these listed products, for example, I see in here soap, organic surface, active agents, and washing preparations. There is a very good increasing in this product that last year there are about percent 5 increase in world importing market, and African countries has a market share about percent 1.3. Percent 1.3 or even percent 0.1, for example, pharmaceutical products mean that African can sell their products, some manufacturer can export their products, but some others maybe cannot. But this doesn't mean that in the future, all other manufacturers, all other companies will not do this. there is just some steps which they need to follow, and I believe that African countries and manufacturers' market share will be increased after these processes. We can continue.
Yes, apologies, I was on mute. Okay, so thanks, Hussein. What was very interesting about what you were actually saying is traditionally, as African countries, we're more so known for our minerals, right? And the things that sit below the ground. However, every point that you had in terms of where we had opportunity to grow in was not mineral related. It was organic produce, it was fruit, it was vegetables, it was pharmaceuticals. You know, there was lots of space in other categories that actually brought in. What I'm going to talk to now is this specific chart that you see on the show, right? So what you're looking at here is a chart that demonstrates that as an African country, what is actually our potential to export. So if you can imagine, when we look at some of the areas, we can see that currently as a market, we currently export X amount of cocoa beans, right? And cocoa bean related products as an example. However, we have almost, if you look at the bottom, about 5 to 7 billion rand dollars, sorry, $5 to $7 billion of potential market space that we could be taking up. Okay, and the data we pulled today was simply as Africa as a whole. Obviously, we can get more specific depending on what category we're looking at. But as a whole, when AgainData examines the entire world in terms of imports and exports, and it looks at actually what Africa's potential is in those markets, this is the type of growth that we could be experiencing, right? So this is an overall slide showing us what we could do as a different field in terms of our specific product types where this is concerned. The next slide that we're going to do at specifically shows us what products into what countries we have the potential in terms of exporting into. So this is just a way of showing you exactly how, when we look overall at our data, at what we have available to us through the beauty of data mining and Hussein and Edan and they're very clever guys that they have on that side, and they turn those things around, how we can use data to our advantage to actually very quickly figure out who we should be targeting, where we should be targeting them, and how we can get to it, which makes things a lot better use of our time in terms of how we actually will go about getting that. Because you remember, when we import and we export, there are different things that we need to consider already before we take that step of importing and exporting. Internally, when we talk about exporting, we do need to look at what is the quality of our products. Because to make it in the long term, you're going to need products that align with those customers' needs in quality. You're going to need different kinds of certification. You're going to need to be able to do certain types of cost analysis in terms of how you could possibly up your productivity to meet that type of output that you would need, as well as from an external point. Once you are prepped internally to do this, you now, of course, need to access that part of the market. And that's very much where we so come in, being able to help you take your products and point you exactly in the way and help you actually get those relationships so that you can import your specific goods into those countries who will need it. I mean, straight off the bat, the decisioning that you can start to make is actually how you're going to move forward in your own business through knowing this information, specifically when you start to look more product specific and you think to yourself, well, now suddenly flavored coffees are in flavor. So should I be making more of those available? Well, this is the type of information that is useful in a decision like that. Or for example, certain types of clothing become more popular than other types of clothing. This is the type of information that you would access to know more about things like that. Okay. And just to give you an idea of where and how Hussein's doing all of this, him and his guys or girls, there are women actually at AgainData. Let me just be clear on that as well. It's not just men. When we talk about how are they accessing this information, firstly, you need to know that there's about over 52 countries in the world who openly share their trade info data. And as you can see, 43 countries with real trade data. And they have access for the past 10 years about all of those. Okay, so every single day, like you can see, there are tons of trades, thousands of trades that happen, and their databases is simply just collecting that information. And that is, they've taken just a portion of that at a very light spray to turn that around to show us how, as Africans, we can actually be improving and increasing our exports and where we should be looking at. So just by looking at this information that they've already given us, we know if we are a manufacturer in any of those areas, I better sit down and I better look at where can I be exporting my data to. So when you think of, when you're asking whose data do you have, these are the types of countries whose data we have, and it's constantly growing. Okay, know that these countries openly share, it's public information based on the Bill of Lading, information about their trades in and out for the last 8 to 10 years. And that information is what we're turning on its side and turning it into an asset so that you can strategically use it in your business. Okay, and through using these data, it helps you actually to increase your sales internationally. But to do that, you'd possibly need to improve your productivity and the quality of your products. And also, if you do need to, if you're not ready for international as yet, us as Success by Design, we can also help you from a local perspective. Okay, but that aside, Hussein, would you tell us a bit more detail in terms of how you actually do what you do?
Yes, Teril. Firstly, we are starting with market analysis. We are considering for specific of our customers sector, which countries are our targets, because every product should has a target country, which means that each country do not purchase each product. So this means that we have to firstly consider our databases in accordance to market analysis. We are doing this help with harmonized system codes. What is harmonized system codes, which is used for all custom processes in all around the world? It's mandated. And we have our own databases, real databases, which is tracking this harmonized code traffics. What I mean with harmonized code traffics, we know that which country is importing which product from which country day by day, and with the real quantities. We are getting all these databases, and we are also discussing with our silence that, okay, we will make market analysis, but just tell us if you have your own targets. Then after we talk with our silent that we are making our own analysis, help with harmonized system, and we are deducting target markets, which means that we do not look for potential importers randomly. We are firstly considering if this country which we are analyzing is our real target, which is appropriate to be a target. And not only we are considering actually importing countries help with HS code, we are also considering growing markets. What I mean, okay, for the last years, maybe some countries did not imported these products, but this doesn't mean that in the future they will not be they will not start to import this product. Then we are analyzing some subcategories, and help with these subcategories, we are deducting growing markets in accordance to our specific product, which we are trying to make our target market analysis. And also we are considering competitors. What I mean with competitors, for example, as Turkey, we are producing olive oil, and we have a customer right now who is exporting olive oil to the world. And we know that we have some competitor countries in accordance to our databases: Greece, Spain, and Italy, our competitor countries, which means that we can analyze our competitor countries' manufacturers, and then we will find these manufacturers' customers help with our databases. This works very well by our side by the time. And after we detect our competitor countries, we are making competitor analysis. What is competitor analysis? Even in the same country, or maybe in our competitor countries, we are detecting our competitor companies. What I mean with competitor companies, they are producing same or similar product with us, and they are really good regarding with exporting their products. Help with our real-time databases, we can index all our competitor companies' trade traffics. And after we detect this traffics, then we are indexing all our potential customers in the world, because we know that if our competitor company could start a business with them, then we will have a chance to give a proposal to them to maybe start another business with them. And while we make competitor analysis, we follow some sub processes. Firstly, we define them. After, we classify them, because we know that not all of our competitors are really competitors, because maybe they are quite bigger manufacturers than us, and we know that maybe we cannot have chance if we work their customers. But if it's quite similar with our number of employees, if it is similar with our business volume, if they are close our stock, then we know that their customers can be our potential customers. So in this point, after we make competitor analysis, we sometimes can find more than hundreds company who are already our competitors. And after we analyze their customers, we can reach more than 1,000 companies, more than 1,000 importers. Then this is a huge data. Then we need to make some classification in these competitors to reach our target easier and faster. And not only competitor analysis, which we are doing, we are also making consideration help with harmonized system code. What I mean with consideration, we have more than billions real databases of trades in the world. As Terrell told that, especially in 43 countries, we have current real trade databases, and for the other countries, we are using some other methods to consider potential importers. For any sectors you can imagine, we can make this analyze and we can find potential importers. There are some sub processes again for this consideration. Firstly, we can consider bill of ladings product description part. What I mean with this, all trade processes must have a bill of lading document, and this bill of lading document will have a product description part, and we can reach this product description part and we can analyze it, that if this trade is related with our customer or not. And also maybe we can make harmonized system code analysis for each trade, and maybe at inverse conditions we can make some SIC code analysis, which is sector identification classification, which means that we can reach all wholesalers, all importers in each country, even if they import their products or not, we can find them with their details. And finding importer companies is not enough. We make to do some tactics. We have to do a strategic plan, and we have to share it with our customers, because we have many customers who already have not imported or exported their products before, and they do not have any experiences. In this point, we need to assist them with our tactics and strategic plans. What we are doing first, we are making categorization in our importer companies in accordance to our customers' request. What I mean with importer categorization, sometimes we can reach more than thousands importer companies, and it's quite difficult to contact with all of them with the appropriate way. So in this point, we are making a smaller listing in accordance to our silence request. For example, if they request to find some specific countries to make their business, then we can decrease our target size in accordance to their request. And also we are defining for them communication channels. For some sectors, sending a basic sample product can be enough, but for some other sectors, you need to go to business visit, or maybe for some other sectors, a simple email campaign can work, but for some other sectors, you have to call all of them separately and maybe ask them for a business visit or maybe video conference. So in this point, in accordance to product type, we are advising our customers to use which communication channels will be beneficial for their business starting. And also we are advising them some action plans which is related with the finding correct person in our potential importer companies. Nowadays there are many different methods to reach correct person, and we are also giving some trainings to our customers regarding with the finding correct person in the importer company. And because if you reach an unrelated position in an importer company, then probably this will not work. So you need to reach, for example, purchasing manager, and we are assisting, we are giving consultancy to our customers regarding with the finding correct person and this correct person's contact details. And then they are making action.
Thank you, Hussein. So just to bring it back, as I saw that we had a few people enter. So if you can just imagine, what we're actually doing is data mining. This is one of the very few companies in the world that does this, especially sitting outside of China. If you're wondering how China became such a giant, the ability to know who to target is a very big part of that. Okay, and through our relationship now, Success by Design is the exclusive partner for the African region to AgainData. So if we bring you on board and you're ready for international exports, then AgainData is the service that we're going to push completely for you to use, because you want to actually make targeted decisions, getting your business ready, making sure that you're getting out there and increasing your sales through export. There's great advantages to us also from a currency perspective where that is concerned. And as you can see, using this method is quite helpful. I have to tell you that AgainData has an 85% success rate, okay, which is really high because the work is that detailed. And once you do engage afterwards, for years, you actually see the benefits beyond that, because the relationships that you create just take you further. So at this point, I'd like to ask, is there any questions that anybody would like to ask us about trade, about how things work, about what you can do?
We have a pricing question from Alistair Banding, and they're asking about the cost of the data that we will provide for them after we do the different types of analysis.
Okay, so Alistair, costing is based on a quote. Okay, we would first come in and see how many products do you have, what countries are you interested in, and so forth, and look at that before we actually give you a quote for engaging with us. Okay, so if you're really interested, we can chat afterwards and we can set up time to do that quote with you. Anybody else? I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I know that we've got a few interesting people in the room, so ask us some interesting questions.
So long, in the chat box, there's no questions as yet.
Thanks, Nolu. Is there anything that we can clarify around how to actually increase trade, or what it is that we are offering, or what you can be doing? Okay, I see a question here. Do you only service only companies in certain countries, or do you work worldwide? We do work worldwide. We are the partners just for Africa in terms of if you are an exporter or importer in Africa, we will then manage the relationship with you and help you. If you're in North America or Europe, you'd work directly with AgainData. But we can help you anywhere in the world. Oh, sorry, there are other continents as well. Australia, Asia, anyway. Any other questions?
Hello, can I ask a question? It's Alice here. Hi. I just wanted to check, should by any chance we accept the service and for some odd reason we need to ship to Nigeria, right? And so obviously at the moment we don't have scale in order to produce and manufacture. Would your company come on board and come and kind of assist with, see if we can get some sort of government funding to kind of accelerate or get some more equipment, machinery?
I can definitely help you, point you in that directions. I know there are grants for manufacturers. I don't have any special pool, but I'll help you with the paperwork if that helps, in terms of putting together what the budget is and so forth that you need to ask for. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, basically, yeah, because I mean, like I said, should an
Yes.
order happen tomorrow,
Yes.
by any chance someone loves our product, and obviously we can't provide.
And if not, I mean, I do know this woman that works at Westcro, who I'm sure can be quite helpful. She actually is in the room with us. So she might be able to help point us in a way. So we can reach out to them. But I do know that within the DTI and different grants, there are for manufacturers special grants.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with all those things, the IDCs and all those things. I just want to know, is it something that you guys assist with in facilitating, using the fact that there's a take-on order from Nigeria, and that becomes almost central to the application?
Yeah, I've never done it before, Alistair, but I would be happy to help you if I can. But if I can find someone that does do it, I'll definitely point you in that way. But yeah, we can see.
Cool.
I'll have to ask. Yeah, pleasure. Any other questions? Diane, we're trying to export to Israel. The Israeli government wants us to get a letter from government stating the company has tested the product is okay. Where can we find this kind of red tape and get it sorted? Diane, I actually do know somebody that helps with certifications. I can give you a name and a number, and you can contact them, and they can help clear up your certifications for you.
A large part of your job offering this service is people want government assistance in whatever way, be it from red tape to funding to testing to getting the exporters codes.
That it depends if you're export ready. That's why I'm saying you need to firstly take stock of that, because there's also different types of export levels for everybody. that you're looking at. Not everybody needs to fill containers. Well, filling a container is always helpful, but I mean, if you haven't got that in place, then I think that we need to talk about other types of services firstly. And it's not just filling in grants. It's actually looking at how you structure things in the business for productivity firstly, because that's going to be quite an important one. Not every one of our manufacturers we expect would be export ready, and especially volume wise would depend. And that's where also Hussein can match you sort of volume wise with who you could possibly be approaching. Nothing from you, Lona?
No, I just wanted to know if the recording of this meeting will be available.
Yes, it will.
At a later stage. Okay, sure.
Okay, cool. Okay, so seeing that these are the questions that was asked, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put people in a chat room for 5 minutes so that they can get an opportunity to talk to somebody else in the meeting and just also talk about sort of what you found out, look at what you actually see, and just we can actually just talk to each other.